How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring you along with me because I want to discuss the Sony A7S III announcement, a little bit more about the camera and what I think about it. So we're going to jump right into it. So as you know, the Sony A7S III just got announced, and a lot of great YouTubers have been putting out some awesome footage with the camera itself and getting really cool insight about the camera that I wanted to discuss more about it, since I am a Sony user and I use the Sony A7 III and the Sony A7R II. I wanted to kind of go with my perspective about if this camera is going to be for me to be upgrading soon, or if I'm getting it right away, or what I think about it. I did a video about the Canon R5 talking about what I loved about it and what I thought was great and what wasn't great. So I want to do the same thing with this to kind of be a little bit non-biased, obviously. But with all that said, we're going to jump with some stuff that I like, that I've seen and that I've read upon it. The first thing that I saw that I really liked is the 10-bit internal recording for the color grading, which is really key because my Sony A7 III only does 8-bit. So with only 8-bit, it doesn't give you as much wiggle room for color grading. I know you can use an external monitor to get to the 10-bit, but obviously that creates more of a chaotic kind of thing. So that 10-bit is really cool for me. That's something that I was wishing the A7 III would have. So that's one of my top things. Another thing that I like is obviously the 4K 120 frames per second slow motion. And they do give you the HD 240, which also is phenomenal. Slow motion is very cool, kind of cinematic, and now that you can do more, basically a slow motion that holds great information, that's pretty cool with me. I know the Canon R5 has that, which is awesome. One thing that I do like is that you don't have a recording limit with the Sony, and there's no overheating. That they said that you're not going to overheat. So far I haven't heard anybody talk about it like the Canon R5. So with that said, I think that's a really cool step up. Obviously the Canon has really cool specs with the 8K, but for me the Sony A7S III, even though it's only at 4K with the no overheating and the 10-bit internal and the slow motion with 4K, that's something that could cater to me more now. But with that said, a little bit of a downfall that I wish this camera would have had at least 6K, just because I know we don't need it right now, but thinking longevity wise with the price point of the camera, I would want to keep this camera for a longer period than, let's say, 4 years or 3 years, and then the next big thing comes out and then we're moving to 6K, like into everybody's pocket kind of thing, because that's where the future's going. Obviously that's why Canon went to the 8K. A little bit overkill with the 8K RAW because obviously the overheating issue, but I think it's still the right step forward with that. So for the price point for the A7S III being at $3,500 for only 4K, which is phenomenal 4K obviously, but hear me out, I would have preferred this 6K because you can just downsize it for 4K, it holds that retention even better, but as well for longevity purposes, because if I'm investing $3,500 on a camera, I don't want to have to be replacing it every 3 to 4 years in reality. I mean, technology progresses a lot, but these cameras can hold themselves well. I mean, my Sony A7 III came out, I think, 2017, 2018 at the latest. I got it in 2019. My Sony A7R II came out in 2015, and I still use it, and it's 2020. I did a video about that, how well it held. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll leave the description down below if you want to check it out. But I think the camera with the A7S III only being 4K is a little bit of a holdback, but I understand why they did it. Right now, everybody's not even seeing 4K on their TVs or even on their phones mainly, and most people taking that content into 1080p on their phone. But the thing is, for production quality, I think the 6K would have been great because you have that wiggle room. That's just my opinion. That's what I think. Is this camera that is something that I would get right away? Probably not. I don't think personally I'm at that level that I need this camera to, mainly because it's just a video camera. I like the hybrid style. Like that's why I like the Sony A7 III, because it's a great camera for photo and video, not just video, because with the 12 megapixels of the Sony A7S III, it's perfect for low light, but it's not good for photography because 12 megapixels isn't a lot of information in my opinion. That's why the Sony A7R II is great for photography still, even though it's a little bit slower with the shutter speed when it comes down to getting that little burst mode. that's okay with me still, because I still get that bigger retention of files, and for getting the speed, if I need to get a faster burst mode, I'll use my Sony A7 III. So with that said, I think that the A7S III is phenomenal camera. The price point is actually still fairly great, because if you look at what the Sony A7R4 is, it was $3,500, now it's at $32. I think that's like $300 off at this current time. And then the Sony A7R III is great still, and they do video really well, but they have more megapixels. Obviously the sensor for low light is not the best. The A7 III is great still. Obviously you don't get the 4K 120, but for the price point that you're getting it now, like at $1,800 most of the time it is on average on sale, it's a great camera. Like, I'm still learning new things to do with my camera and that I can evolve with before I need to upgrade it. So is a Sony A7S III for me? Not right now. My budget could handle it, I'm sure. But in all honesty, am I really getting the best for the camera that I know that I can use it for yet? No. You have people like Ben TK. If you don't know who he is, he does phenomenal videos, travel videos, and just amazing After Effects transitions. He's at that level that I can go like, well, you know what? He knows every little aspect of his camera. Sony A7S III is phenomenal. He did this video that I just saw him do with the camera, and it makes sense for him to upgrade. I mean, there's other YouTubers with bigger channels, people that use it for their businesses, that makes sense. For me, for what I'm doing from my business standpoint, and for like the size of my YouTube channel, what I have is perfect. So if you're debating that you need to get the best of the best because it's the newest, but you don't know how to handle your camera just yet, I would invest more time into learning what you can from what you have and be thankful for it. And then once you're so certain that you can make your money, or if you have the budget for it, upgrade. And that's the beauty about it. Everybody's different. So don't follow the hype if you don't think you're ready for it. That's why I'm choosing to wait still, because I would actually prefer upgrading to the Sony A7R4, because I do a lot more stills than video. I do a lot of video, but for what I need to do video for, my Sony A7 III is great. The Sony A7R2 is great still. What I like about the Sony A7R4 that I want to get eventually is the faster frame rates for whenever you're taking a burst mode, and just quicker software, because when I'm trying to look at the photos, if I've taken too many, it takes a little while, and I've talked about that in my video that I did about this camera, but I can still manage it. It doesn't affect my workflow that much just yet. So whenever I feel like it's taking more time that I'm losing for that matter, I'll upgrade. So, but with this Sony A7S III, I think it's great. Phenomenal specs. Obviously, resolution, it won't be the 8K RAW, whatever that the Canon R5 has, but I think for the price point and for what you're getting, if you're very much into video only, it's a phenomenal camera. You're gonna love the low light capabilities, because from what I've seen, it's unreal. The slow motion looks buttery smooth. So take that into consideration and take it however you want to. That's just my opinion on the camera. Obviously, I'm a Sony user. That's something that I would upgrade first before the Canon R5, just because I'm invested in Sony lines. And cameras keep evolving. I'm sure if you shoot Fuji's gonna come out with something. If you shoot Nikon probably already is working on something that they're gonna be announcing. That's the beauty about the market. They're always gonna try to compete with each other, so be patient. I'm even waiting for the A7 IV, see if that's gonna be something better for me. But with all that said and done, guys, I hopefully you like this video. Tell me your opinions about it. If you're planning to get the Sony A7S III and pre-ordering currently, or you're just gonna wait a little bit longer, or what's your current setup, and how do you feel that you need to upgrade already with all the new camera gear coming out? I know we all have the fear of missing out, myself included, and I know I really would like to just buy all this gear, but realistically and from a business standpoint, I'm not jumping the gun just yet until I can secure myself that I know that I can make the money back and more to stabilize my business, to not have such a dent when spending so much money. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys on the next one. So thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day. See you.